Welcome to Talk of the Town. I'm your host, Jessa Jeremiah. We have a wonderful show for you today. We're going to check in with some local business owners. We're going to talk high school football. But first, we get to check in with our friend Dave Woolen, who is from Wisconsin Athletic Foundation, also our news partner here on Talk of the Town. Dave, welcome.
Thank you for having me again.
So glad to have you. So it's been a little bit since we've gotten to talk to you, but I know that the Madison community is really wondering and asking about this facility. So what is the sort of timeline on Wisconsin Athletic Foundation?
Well, we are currently in a grant holding process. We're waiting for the verbal agreements. The people that gave us verbal agreements to follow through with their pledges. When that happens, then we can go ahead and start moving forward. But we do have a dynamic behind-the-scenes activity going on, and for anybody who really wants to know how they can help and find out, they can contact our CFO, Dick Powell, and they can get involved in helping us build this fantastic facility in Madison.
Awesome. And now, in case viewers at home didn't catch the last time we had these guys on, you know, you are building a very impressive athletic facility, and I know that there's going to be a lot of benefit to both just Madison and Dane County as a whole. So talk to us a little bit about how this athletic facility is going to benefit Dane County.
Right. This is really exciting. We're working with some dynamic organizations and institutions in Madison and Dane County area. We've got Madison College on board, and they're enthusiastically planning future programming for the facility. We also have UW Health, UW Madison, Boys and Girls Clubs of Dane County are working with us, are sitting in our planning meetings and developing programs for opportunities for kids, for adults, for people, these opportunities that have never really been had that ability in the Madison and Dane County area in the past. So
that's wonderful. So you're working with a lot of other organizations just to make the best facility possible, and this is going to be called now the Wisconsin Recreational Athletic Complex.
That's correct. The RAC. It's still the RAC.
The RAC. Yes. Now let's talk about some like real specific things, if there are some, if you would, about some of the benefits and more details.
Well, the big thing, the one thing that I really want to point to is the weather. 5 months out of the year, our athletes, our teams, and anybody who wants to get outside and do something cannot because the parks, the schools, they don't let you get onto the turf. The cleats, obviously, are going to destroy the natural turf, so it's understandable. What we need is a facility that has the turf, or that you can practice and play indoor, full-size field. If we look around regionally, Minneapolis alone has 9 indoor facilities for these kinds of activities. And our teams, our athletes, they're traveling. They're traveling hours on the road. They're spending thousands of dollars on hotels and restaurants, and the gas. And why shouldn't we just keep that in Madison? Why can't we have something here in Madison so that we don't have to have our athletes and families, you know, traveling the treacherous roads during the wintertime?
Absolutely, very good point. And let's talk from an economic standpoint real quick. What are your thoughts on how this is going to benefit economic development here in the area?
Well, exactly what I just got done saying is all of these things are going out of the area. Let's bring them into the area. Let's spend those thousands of dollars here. We're going to be bringing in teams from the region, and Madison Sports Commission has a record of bringing in national and regional activities, and we're working with them closely. Hotels, restaurants, and the jobs that those are going to create because of the added and increased activity. And the sports teams that we are talking to, and they're so excited about this facility, a short trip that they go to compete, they'll spend upwards of $60,000. So again, why not just keep that right here in the Madison and Dane County area?
Absolutely. And we're getting close to time, Dave. I could talk to you all afternoon about this. This is really neat. But really quick, talk to me about how now you are a nonprofit. You've just gotten your letter of determination.
Exactly.
How is that going to help?
That's really exciting for us, because what being a nonprofit, what it does is it allows us to concentrate our energies and our resources on helping create opportunities for those that economically might not have the same opportunities. So the programs we're developing are going to help that. The transportation coming to the facility, we've got that under control. So there's not going to be any reason for anybody to not be able to come and enjoy this facility.
Awesome. Well, we'll have to check back with you as plans unfold, and I
Yes.
know there's a lot of things going on. So thank you very much for bringing this important information to the Madison and Dane County area. Very good. Dave Wolin from Wisconsin Athletic Foundation. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Justin.
Now, coming up after the break, we've got coffee distribution, a great place to check out some art, but also just a great place to sit and enjoy a cup of joe. So we're going to check in with the owner of EVP Coffee after the break right here on Talk of the Town. Welcome back to Talk of the Town. Now we're talking about a great source for folks in the community to sit and enjoy a cup of coffee. We are talking with Miss Tracy Danner, who joins us from EVP Coffee. Welcome.
Thank you.
How are
Thanks
you?
for having me. I'm doing okay. Thank you so
Good.
much.
So glad to have you. So I'm excited. You've got these coffee shops sort of all over the area here,
Mhm.
and I'm excited to learn more about it. So tell us about EVP Coffee. First of all, I'm curious what it stands for,
Okay.
and then just how you got into business.
All right. Well, so EVP are the initials for Et vous prêt, which means Are you ready? And Et vous prêt was the starting command of rowing races back when French was the official international language. And rowing is what brought me to visit Madison. I'm originally from Alaska. So
Interesting.
yeah, and so that's what hooked me to Madison.
Love that.
And Et vous prêt, I thought philosophically was a good question. Are you ready? So
Especially when you're talking about coffee, right? That's
Heck
what you
yeah.
do to get ready for the day oftentimes.
Yeah.
Perfect.
yeah,
Wonderful.
yeah.
How'd you decide? So that's how you decided to start your business?
Well, the way I started, or I wanted to start my business, was I had been a substance abuse counselor before I opened this business, and I got extremely burnout. I loved the work, but it was really hard on my system, and so I thought, how can I serve my community in a meaningful way? You know, how can I still participate, serve people, and be with people, but on like a less intense level? And I just was like, well, I love coffee, and I thought I could use coffee as a vehicle to serve and love people in our community.
Very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. It truly is a way that you can still be really involved in the community, as many of your coffee shops are really a refuge for people to go and sit and just
Right.
relax a little bit. So that's nice. Now, were you actually trained in business?
You know, I'm not trained in business, and you know, I always kind of call myself a social worker running a business, and I have used Et vous prêt kind of like an experiment to find out if it was possible to have it all. Like if you could have love and kindness be the focus of your business, if you could serve a beautiful product, you know, have your employees feel valued and cared for, treat them well, and be fairly priced, and then also have a place in the community.
Yeah, and
so,
let's talk about that a little bit, kind of along the same lines. How do you hope that the community benefits from EVP Coffee?
well, you know, a couple things. You know, I really want people to expect to be treated in the spirit of love and kindness. I want people, when they come through the door, to really expect that from us through our service and just through the space, feeling welcoming and, you know, safe. I also, it's been really important for me to create a work culture where the people working at Et vous prêt know that they are valued and respected. And I feel like, you know, I know all the people working at Et vous prêt are pros, and they could work anywhere. And I let them know that, you know, and that we are grateful that they're willing to participate in our community in this way, you know. But I ask people, the baristas, I say, I'm asking you to love people and be kind and also make a great cup, because we have a great product. But for me, that is secondary.
Yeah. Well, what a nice philosophy and just a great outlook you have on community involvement and just what you bring to the table. That's nice.
Mm-hmm.
Is there something that you would want viewers at home to know about EVP? Anything specifically? Any takeaways?
Well, I think, the most important thing is that that people know that we just feel honored to serve in our community, and we're really grateful for the support that we've received over the years, and that we really feel like the community decides whether we make it or not, and that again, I'm just really honored to participate in our community this way, and I hope that people feel honored and valued by coming in our service.
Excellent. Well, we got just a few seconds left, but I want for folks at home who aren't familiar with some of the things you do and make, could you give us just a rundown?
Well, we are a coffee roast. We are a coffee roaster, so we roast our coffee 6 days a week. So you can always expect to get freshly roasted coffee. We also have a kitchen where we make homemade soups, homemade granola. We make our own chai concentrate, so that's a really lovely product. We're at our East Side location. We have a homemade yogurt, and we are in the process right now of developing more bakery items and doing our own bakery stuff.
Very good.
Yeah.
So not just coffee, but some other wonderful
yeah.
goods and a great sense of community.
Right.
And I really appreciate it for you joining us and sharing with us about EVP Coffee. Tracy Danner, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Well, we've got some more restaurants for you to check out after the break, so stick around right here on Talk of the Town. Welcome back to Talk of the Town. We get to talk high school football now. We're going to check in with our sports news partner. We have Travis Wilson, who joins us from Wisconsin Sports Network, general manager and football writer. Welcome, Travis.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
Love having you. So we're going to talk about some of the big games from last week, but first, I understand there was a record set. So talk to us about that.
Yeah, one of the big-time records, really. Watoma's Nathaniel Logging in a game against Wisconsin Dells that they won 62-7, rushed for 524 yards on 31 carries and six touchdowns as well in the game. Shattered the previous record of 465 yards, which was set back in 2005 by Milwaukee Marshall's Dante Stewart. A huge performance, incredible numbers, 524 yards in a single game. Just amazing.
Wow, very impressive. Very cool. Good stuff. Let's talk about some of the games now. Janesville Craig really surprised some people with a win over Sun Prairie. So tell me a little bit about this. Are they a contender for the Big 8 title, do you think now?
Well, they started 4-0 against the weaker part of their schedule, and they lost the previous week to Madison La Follette, and we kind of wondered, maybe they were just a victim of their schedule in the second half. But that win over Sun Prairie is very impressive. You have to look at them as a contender at this point, I think. They have a pretty tough schedule left the rest of the way, including a Week 9 game against Middleton, but they've proven on the field that they're ready to compete with the best in the Big 8.
Very good. Okay. Now let's talk about the Mount Horeb Barneveld. They lost to DeForest last week. So the stage is really set now for this game against Reedsburg coming up this week. What's on the line in that one?
Well, on the line is really control of the Badger North Conference. Reedsburg is the only team that's undefeated in conference play as of right now. If they get a win over Mount Horeb Barneveld, they're almost guaranteed at least a share of the conference title. They would have a game against Wanakee left, and then a game in the last week of the season against Portage, who really has struggled this year. So, but if Mount Horeb Barneveld can get the win on the road at Reedsburg, then it really does put them back into the race, and we would have a pretty exciting last couple of weeks coming down the stretch with Wanakee, Mount Horeb Barneveld, and Reedsburg all right there in it.
Okay, very interesting. Let's talk about Columbus for a second. So they were really doing well in the beginning of the season, and I understand they have now suffered 2 straight losses. So what do you see for them? Are they even in playoff contention at this point?
They are, but they need to get it going. They started the year 4-0, but then they lost their first 2 conference games of the year. they have to win their last 3 games just to get into the playoffs. It's not going to be easy, but they're winnable games for sure. The toughest one is probably going to be, I think it's week 9 against Lakeside Lutheran. But they've got to get it going and get it going quickly. They've lost to a couple very good teams, but one of those situations where they're in playoff mode already in the last 3 weeks of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we'll have to check back with you and see how they're doing as the next couple games progress. And I know they're hoping for a few wins. So we did get a chance to catch up with you at the Beltline Bowl last week, which
Yes.
was great. You gave us a wonderful interview. You have a busy Friday night schedule. So talk to us a little bit about what that looks like for you.
Well, every Friday night I pick a game here in the Madison area to go to and get to take that in and get out and see a lot of different teams, which is very cool. As I'm at the game, I'm usually listening to another game on my headphones on a iHeartRadio or TuneIn app, getting text updates from a lot of different people around the state, check Twitter. Just a busy night, but a fun night. Getting out to the games is, kind of the icing on the cake for what I do and really enjoy it. And then after the game, or actually kind of have to leave midway through the game, get back to the studio at Clear Channel. I host a Friday night post-game show on the Big 1070. Do that for an hour and a half, head back home, check out what went on in the state, and update our site and what was going on, and just try to wrap everything up the best I can. So busy night for sure.
Very busy night. Well, we're going to add to the list now, trying to catch us for some interviews during the bowl series whenever we can, because we really enjoyed doing that interview on the sideline there. So talk to us a little bit with the last minute here about playoffs, and give us a rundown for teams kind of in our coverage area here.
Yeah, well, I brought a cheat sheet
Good.
because there are a few teams that have clinched already. There's 6 teams in our area that have clinched: Cuba City, Darlington, Janesville, Craig, Madison, La Follette, Middleton, and Milton. Those teams are in for sure. There's 18 other teams that are eligible for the playoffs and can clinch with one more victory: Belmont, Bigfoot, Blackhawk, Cambria-Friesland, Deerfield, DeForest, Ithaca, Kickapoo, Lafarge, Markesan, McFarland, Monona Grove, North Crawford, Oregon, Pecatonica, Argyle, Potosi, Reedsburg, Rio, and Williams Bay. And if anybody has any questions on where their favorite team is at, head to wissports.net. We've got a full list there.
WisSports.net. You heard it from Travis right here. Thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome.
Travis Wilson with Wisconsin Sports Network. All right, well, after the break, if you're someone who is indecisive about what to order on the menu when you go out to eat, you're going to want to check out this restaurant. There's one item on the menu, and they do it great. We'll tell you who after the break right here on Talk of the Town. Welcome back to Talk of the Town. Our next guest has captured the delicious art of one menu item perfectly. We're joined now by Paul Schweyer of Paul's Pelmeni, located in downtown Madison. Welcome. How are you?
Good, very good.
Glad to have you.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate
So,
it.
I'm interested to learn more about the Pelmeni. First, talk to us. Where did you learn to make this dish?
Well, I learned in Alaska. I'm from Madison originally. My family moved to Juneau, Alaska when I was in high school. I had a bunch of different jobs, and one of the jobs was helping this fellow make these dumplings for just his little business. He ran out of an ice cream shop there, and we just sold them for like a late night dish. So that's how I learned how to make them.
Very good. And then what prompted you from that, learning to make this dish, to then starting this business?
Well, being from Madison, I know it's a small little college town, and I was familiar with downtown and the State Street area, and I felt like, it's a big enough market that I could offer something limited, and as long as it was different from other people's dishes, or not a cheeseburger, not a taco, but still kind of cheap in that same price range, that I felt like that would be an attraction for students.
Absolutely.
So that's why I chose downtown.
And you've gotten some great reviews, too. I told you before we started, I was reading up a little bit on some of the nice things folks have said about you and your company. Talk to me about, what does small business really mean to you now that you've gotten up and running?
Well, small business, I think, it takes a lot of local support to be successful. And also, I believe that it's important to incorporate other small businesses in your operation, like reaching out to local beef providers or like local produce providers, and trying to maybe utilize the ingredients that's here in the state of Wisconsin before going other places. You know, you end up paying a little more in the long run, but I think ultimately you get a little more respect from your community and also, in essence, like some exposure through that.
Yeah, absolutely. And Madison's a great community to, you know, sort of network locally and incorporate other local folks in your practice.
I mean, the product that I sell is, you know, I use eggs, I use dairy, I use flour, sour cream, and this is a dairy state, so why not use a lot of Wisconsin, you know, products if possible. We use Sassy cow milk, and our eggs come from a local farmer. And our ground beef was through Black Earth Meats for a while before they had this transition taking place. So now we're using UW Provisions for our beef, which is still local ground beef. But soon Black Earth is going to be back online, and we'll go back to them.
Very good. All nice local companies that get to be a part of what you do. So talk to me, you mentioned dumplings. So for folks who don't know, pelmeni is dumplings. And, you know, give us some specifics on, you know, what you offer.
Right. Well, pelmeni is similar to like a ravioli or like a pierogi. The Italians like to claim that they created pasta, but it's very much Asian influenced. That's kind of where pasta came from. And, you know, through time, it's kind of been adopted, you know, all over the world. And, you know, people use it for just different variations in dishes. Like you said, the pelmeni is probably most similar to like a pierogi, but pierogis are typically pan-fried and served with sour cream and like fried onions. The pelmenis that I make are just all boiled in water. So it's, you know, it's like a little ramen dish almost, you know, just a beef noodle dish, real simple.
Good.
Yeah.
But a little healthier than the fried or...
Well, yeah, I mean, we put a little bit of butter on top of it, but yeah, it's not like grease. It's not super greasy.
Yeah, it's a good hearty meal.
Yeah, exactly.
Good.
Exactly.
What is it that made you want to be downtown?
Well, I think the fact that you know, that's where the densest area is, the highest concentration of people. The nice thing about State Street, you know, is that my thinking was I didn't need to advertise because I have a place like right on the main street, and you know, over time, just the exposure kind of brought people through the door. I also am a firm believer of like word of mouth, that if you have something that's unique or something that's good, and you can present it well, and people enjoy it, that they'll spread that.
Yeah.
You know, obviously that takes a little more time to build, but it worked out.
Yeah, and what a great place. And you said, do you do frozen orders too for folks who want to?
We're trying to get our quantity up enough to be able to offer that like full time.
Yeah.
We absolutely will sell frozen orders. We sell like a, you know, good portion, about 35 dumplings for $5.
Oh wow, great.
Yeah, it's pretty cheap.
Great affordable meal.
And our goal is to get to the point where, you know, have a little reach-in freezer with some prepackaged dumplings that people can just come in and buy. You know, we put like a little curry seasoning, a sweet chili sauce, and cilantro on it. There's so many different variations and so many different sauces you can use it for. I mean,
wonderful. Well, thank you very much. What an interesting thing. You can go dine in or maybe take some to go as well.
Sure.
And you said over on State Street. So
it's just up from State Street. It's on Gorham, 203 Gorham. So
Perfect.
It's just up from State Street.
So go see Paul Schwer at Paul's Pelmeni. Thank you so much for joining us. Thanks to our guests, and thank you for watching. Join us next time on Talk of the Town.